Hello, you are welcome to Breaking Things Down with Seyi Banigbe, also known as BTD with Seyi Banigbe, and I'm excited for today. Of course, you know here we talk all things success in career, business, and every area of life. So, today's topic, very, very important because a lot of people are either about to go through it, currently going through it, or probably will go through it in the nearest future. So I think what we're going to talk about today is very salient. And even if you are not going through it, you know someone that is going through it. So, just listen, sit down, relax, and let's learn together. We're going to be talking, and I have the perfect person here, to discuss this thing with me. We're going to be talking about, things you should know, what to do and what to know, before you relocate. And of course, you know that when I say relocate, I'm talking about out of the shores of Nigeria, right? And we have none other. But he's an IT, he's a tech expert, cybersecurity expert. His name is Yemi Banigbe. And don't worry, he's not my husband. But can we welcome Yemi Banigbe?
Thank you very much, Shei. Thank you. It's great to be here breaking things down with you today.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. Yemi left the shores of this. So the Yemi story is quite interesting. Yemi had built his tech career in this country for about 15 years. He had gone through the tough, dogged, the period where everybody runs away from. He had, started living large, big boy, Abuja, everything, chilling. And then he relocates. First of all, tell us why. Why did you have to leave the country? You were already living the life people would like to live here.
Thank you very much. Living outside the country has never been my desire from when I was young. I never wanted to live outside the country. I believe Nigeria has a lot in store for me and I wanted to be successful in the country. However, I followed woman to America. My movement to America wasn't because I wanted to relocate, but it was a fulfillment of a promise I made to my wife before we even started dating. So I promised her that marriage would never stop her from achieving whatever she wants to achieve in life. So she had already told me before we got married that she was going to do a master, she was going to get a PhD and all of that. And I said, well, I promise that whenever you're ready.
You have to promise your life.
Whenever you're ready, I will support you the best way I can.
This is a man. All you men that will be promising things before you put a ring on it. This is a man. See what after 15 years building his career, he was living large in Nigeria. She said it was time, Abi. I want to do my. How did it happen?
So she said it was time. She wanted to go for. We had our first child, had a second child. After the second child, said, "Hey, it's time for a doctorate." I said, "Okay, yeah, go ahead. The kids will stay with me. You can go." Few months down the line, she said, "No, I can't go without my children. So I have to go with the kids." After a couple of counsels, I was advised that it's not healthy for you to be living in another country without your family. So I agreed that, okay, it's just for 5 years, we're going to go to the US. So we started the process and she went 6 weeks before me because I was handling some projects in the country. She got her apartment. Then I went with the kids 6 weeks after to join her.
And this is how many years down the road?
This is 8 years now.
Wow, I thought you said it was 5 years.
Yes, yeah, we planned for it to be 5 years, but after she graduated and it was time, she was ready to come back to Nigeria, but at that time, I wasn't comfortable coming back to Nigeria because of several things. And one of the things I had in mind that why I didn't want to come back was I didn't think certificate alone is enough for us to just come back to Nigeria. I believe we needed to have some international experience to bring back home. It will serve as a leverage for us to negotiate.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided to stay back.
Fantastic. For a few years
For a
more.
few more years after the graduation.
So this chat is actually inspired by my interview with Pearl Uzokwe on season 3 of Binging with Game Changers. Pearl, she works in Nigeria with Sahara. She's a big girl, in her career and everything. But the interesting thing about her story then, when I sat with her, was she schooled in the UK. She had, very high-paying jobs and all of that. And then she moved back with her husband. And I found that quite intriguing. And one thing she kept harping on when I interviewed her, and by the way, you should check out that interview. It's on Binging with Game Changer Season 3. B2G Network is the channel on YouTube. She kept saying, I didn't want to be trapped. I didn't want to be trapped. I didn't want to be trapped by the comfort and the fear of returning home. And that brings me to my next question. Aren't you scared of getting trapped? At this rate, you said 5 years. Now it's 8 years. You are there, oh. You might not come back, oh.
And that's a very, very valid point, and it's a very good question. The fear of being trapped, we all go through it. Most of us that believe in fulfilling destiny, because one of the things that Americans do to you is they make you feel comfortable in mediocrity. Yeah, you get a loan, you get a house. I saw the interview with
Girl.
Pierre, and it really resonates with me. You're comfortable, your kids are going to good school, you can get a loan to get whatever, and you just feel like you don't want to push yourself anymore.
Yeah.
Once you have a house that is you're paying mortgage on, you can drive any car you want to drive without. But there is more. You have a destiny. There is more to life, and I've gotten to that point myself where I'm now to an extent comfortable, but I believe there is more. And I believe in the dream of Nigeria. I love Nigeria. I love Nigeria. Nigeria, my country. I love it so much. And I want to come back home. I believe I have more to give to the system. And another salient point is the fact that I'm not sure I want to raise my kids in America.
That's an episode for another day. Let's just, that kind of worms there, let's just cover it and leave it.
I want them to come back home, learn our culture, there are some things that we learned growing up. You can't learn them in America. You can't learn them in the Western world. You can't export it. So they need the community here. So I am in the process of coming back home. I can't put a pen on it or a date on it. This is when I'm coming, but
yeah, definitely.
I'm not one of the people that say, hey.
What I find interesting about your story as well is when you actually left, it was quite tough because you said your wife had a student visa, and then the visa you were given as her husband didn't enable you to work. You know what? Tell us now, because most people that I know that go, they usually have some paper or the other enabling them to work. How exactly should one prepare themselves, prepare to leave the shores of Nigeria, to go live there? It might be for 5 years, 8 years. What should we be thinking? And I think I like that I'm having this conversation with you because you are not suffering here. Yeah. And because when you're speaking with someone that was suffering, and it's like they're escaping. It wasn't an escaping for you. It was a strategic move. Okay, we have to go out there to gain more knowledge, experience, and a whole lot of things, and we will be back. But even that is a major move for a family and for a person, for your career.
Absolutely.
You had put in about 15 years in the IT sector. So, and with benefit of hindsight now, you've done 8 years. So anybody watching now that wants to make that move, what should they be considering to do that thing successfully?
You have great questions. Like they always say, hindsight is always an excellent teacher. Whatever you want to do in life, you need to research, and research. If I'm going to do it all over again, if I'm going to do anything different, is that I'm going to prepare and research. When we were going to travel, the plan was not for me to actually stay in the US. The plan was, okay, we are going, I want to go keep them there. How will be shuttling between Nigeria and the US. But when I got there and the reality dawned on me that, hey, when I look at my wife's schedule, she was going to school 4 times in a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yes. She leaves home as early as 8 a.m. She comes back like sometimes 10 p.m. We have 2 kids. At that time, our kids were 6 and 7. We couldn't leave them by themselves. So it means I had to hire a nanny.
And they don't hire them. It's money that they used to buy car that they in a year
So
that they used to pay them.
it means I have to hire a nanny. 2 questions there. That means I have to be working in Nigeria to pay a nanny. Because if you look at how much a nanny will charge you,
Yeah.
I will freely do the nanny work.
Abby.
Secondly, it means someone else will raise my children. For me, we have different definition of success. I believe that my success in life is raising good kids. And I can't allow someone else to do that for me. It's not a task I wanted to delegate. So I had to stay back, raise my children by myself.
Wow,
And at that time when we were leaving, because of the plan we had, the visa I got was a dependent visa. In the UK, if you have a dependent visa, a student dependent visa, you can work.
Yeah.
But in the US, you can't.
I didn't know that.
You can't work. So that means...
So you're sitting at home, legit, every day.
That's what I tell my people when they call me, hey, Yemi, how are you doing? What do you do now? I'm a full-time house husband.
Husband.
So I
Put it
had
on your
to,
CV.
I had to do that for a while. I won't tell you that it was easy as a man coming from Nigeria.
That, as in, my respect for you is just going higher.
With at least a level of success that I had before I left.
Yeah.
But it was the right thing to do at that time.
Because she needed to.
She needed to. The truth is, if I knew I had to make that much sacrifice, I would have thought about it twice before we left. I would have thought about it. Maybe I would have gone, but I would have thought about it twice. But we went through it and...
You're here today. But so you eventually got a job there?
I got a job, but I couldn't get a job with the paper that I had. And I knew a day like this would come when I would have to tell my story. And I didn't want to leave anything unsaid, like a shortcut, something shady.
So what did you do? Tell us.
I had offer of friends telling me, hey, you can use my social security to work and things like that people do. I can do that. So what I did in my time of waiting was I began to develop myself again, started studying. And they say something that when opportunity meets preparation, there's always a spark. So I prepared myself. I was into technical IT consultancy, IT project management back at home. So I started developing myself in area of governance, risk, and compliance. Fortunately for me, a friend has an IT need in his organization. So I volunteered to work for him for free. Believe me, it was in the process of working for him for free that I met a company that I currently work with.
Wow.
So by the time I got my paper to work, those people were looking for someone to fill a position in their organization.
So you applied for a visa that would enable you to work?
Yes. My wife and I and the family, we did a change of status. By the time it was ready, this company, they needed someone. And I reached out to them and said, oh, you want a job? That's how I got my dream job.
So, I love it. Dream job. That means he's earning good. So if we're taking our notes, basically, you've said research before you go. Secondly, educate yourself.
Absolutely.
Because it sounds like you, of course, you had experience here, but when you got there, you also started learning about stuff over there because it's a bit different. I mean,
IT is global. It's not different. It's the same thing everywhere in the world. But my interest changed. I was tired of doing IT, project management and technical stuff. I wanted to go more into governance, risk, compliance, and which was something I wasn't used to here. So I had to study more, get training in that area. And that is what I do currently.
So what else would you have, checked or put in place, knowing that you're relocating, I'll be there for a while with a family?
One thing that worked for me going there is I had savings.
So you're saying save.
Like I said,
save for how many years?
We were comfortable before we left. The cost of, the amount I used building a duplex in Abuja was an amount I spent within a year in the US where I relocated to. So when you're going to the US, I would never overemphasize the importance of research. You have to research the states you're going to go to.
No, not just America, because all of us we just do.
The states I went to, well, because that is where my wife really wanted to school.
So
that was her desire.
What kind of
Massachusetts.
peculiarities do you find?
In that area, it's very, very expensive because of the schools there. That is where you have the Ivy League schools. You have the Harvard. You have.
So would you
MIT.
have not gone there if you knew?
We would have still gone there.
But you'd have saved more.
But would have saved more. We would have saved more.
Yeah.
So it was expensive. It was expensive. So you have to know your pockets. And if you're not very, very comfortable, I would not advise that you go to the East Coast. You can start from the South in the US. It's cheaper. They have weathers that is comparable to what we have in America. Another thing.
In Nigeria.
Yeah, in Nigeria. Okay. Another thing there is the weather. Before I left, I was speaking to my son yesterday and I was asking him, hey, how is the weather? I said, the weather is better today. I said, what's the temperature? I said, 0 degrees.
And
that is a good weather.
Eh.
So it gets very cold. If you don't have a car, life could be miserable. So you have to plan. A lot of planning needs to go into it before you travel. Another thing is the culture shock.
Tell us, what shocked you? What were you not prepared for?
I'm going to talk about just 2 of the culture shock. There are so many, but the ones that are really peculiar to me that affected me when I got there was 1, America is an individualistic country. People don't send you. People are on their own. So the first place I lived at when I got to the US was an apartment. So I was in an elevator with one of my neighbor, a guy, and I said, hey, Kelvin, how are you doing today? The guy just looked at me like, why is this guy greeting me? I don't know you. To make the matter worse, I said, hey, so how has your day been?
It
was like, because it's from where I came from, it's the normal thing
We're
to
quite
do.
caring.
You see someone, hey, how are you doing? How you? Before I left the apartment, we became very good friends. So he told me that he was shocked the way I spoke to him the first time we met. I said, hey, that is where I came from. Another culture shock that I experienced was the banking system. I entered into trouble. My first year in the US.
Why?
Someone transferred money to my account. And they closed down my bank account.
Why? What's wrong with?
Because they had to trace the money. They say, you are not working in the US. Where did you get this fund from? So you have to give an account of every amount that entered. Here in Nigeria, you have your money, you put your money in the bank. But there, they have to be able to trace the source of every fund that was coming in. That's another.
Meanwhile, I'm sure the person wanted you to help them buy a car because I know you.
Exactly.
That's what you were doing a lot of that when you were not working.
I was helping a lot of friends back home to, hey, you want to get it? Yeah. They transfer money to me. Yeah. You get the car for them and send it to Nigeria for them.
So you had to prove that, basically.
So you had to prove that, okay, this is where the money is coming from. I was shocked.
Wow, interesting. I don't know. I mean, God help me. I don't know if I can live in somewhere that sounds very regimented and, but I mean, being organized is good, but hey, anyway. So you said something at the beginning of this chat that you're planning to come back. You don't have a date yet, but you're coming back really soon. You're just trying to gather some experience and, prepare. So a lot of people that I know have said something similar, but they never take that boat. I mean, knowing you well enough, I know you're going to come back. You've said it, you're going to. But the average person wants to, but can't. What are you doing because what I usually hear is, where will I start from? Where will I start from? I hear that a lot. What are you doing to make sure that coming back is easier for you?
My capital. We all need a capital. Whatever you want to start in life, you need a capital. And for me, the best capital I have in life is people. So
I thought you was talking about money.
Wow, money.
That's deep. You said people. Wow.
The best resource you can have in life, they say, is human resource. So I maintain both my contacts in Nigeria and around the world, my professional relationships. I maintain them. As a matter of fact, I am visiting 3 states on this visit because I need to meet with friends.
Mm.
So that's one of the things that I'm putting in place on my way back. And businesses in Nigeria, there are some businesses I was into before I left, and I still maintain those my business partners
Okay, as
back in
friends.
Nigeria as friends. We still communicate. So I'm gonna meet with them. I'm gonna talk with them, share the plan with them, and we'll kick it from there.
So basically, if I hear you, if you want to come back, don't do. But I mean, you say you keep the network. Teach us a bit, because the truth is, I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people are like me watching. We keep saying this relationship. You say human resource is your capital, is your this, your that. But what are the practicals? Like, is it that okay, every Christmas I should call them to say hi? Like, give us a quick masterclass on how to actually nurture our relationships and the network that we've been blessed with.
They say one of the best friends you have are your hood friends. The friends that you grew up together, that you knew each other when you were nothing.
When you were nothing.
And building success in life is like a pyramid. It's like a pyramid. From the base, you have a lot, but there are a few people that you grew together and you maintain it at the top. So what I usually do with my contact is I stay in touch. I stay in touch with them. People in Nigeria need help in the US. I was happy to help them when they need help in the US. I had a friend that came to New Jersey. New Jersey is about 5 hours drive from where I stay, Massachusetts. He brought his wife to put to bed. I drove all the way from Massachusetts to go visit him in New Jersey to show him that it's important.
Yeah, that you care.
That I care. So I those are one of the few things that I believe you do to nurture relationship. They know you, that you are not in their lives
every day
for what you want to get from them.
Okay.
Because you are invested in their success also. And they know you are someone with integrity. I had a friend who called me, I won't say the amount, but it's in hundreds of millions, said, hey, Yemi, I want to do a business in the US. I want to transfer. It takes someone that you have good relationship with to do that. Trust. When I was leaving the country, the paper to my properties, I left it with a friend. He sold the property and sent the money to me. So those are the kind of quality relationship you need in your life.
I find it quite interesting that I asked you that question and you said, "Oh, I make sure my capital is in place," and then I promise you, I thought you were talking about money because I was about to say, "Ooh, you are saving the dollars, and the exchange rate to favor you and all of that." But I'm quite taken aback that you said that capital is people, and that I think that's something that should a lot of us should go back to think about. Actually how much time and effort and deliberateness, if that's a word, we put into the relationships in our life. Maybe I'm a bit guilty. That's why I'm really like, oh my gosh. So when I say guilty, that's keeping in touch. Sometimes because you and someone, you don't have any projects together, there's no business, it's not enough reason. So how do you handle? I'm going to get a bit practical with you because I think this is something you're stronger. We don't do any business together. We don't have any whatever together. So how do you now keep that person, close to you or,
Like I mentioned, you have to invest in them.
They didn't also have a need though. So
everybody have a need. We all have a need. Everyone. Are you telling me you don't have a need?
I do. Well, if I don't come to you that, I need help in the US with this, how do you keep being my friend?
Everyone, we all do. We all have a need. And it takes you being, I'm finding the right word to use. You have to be deliberate. And it takes you having interest in people to understand their needs. They have kids, don't they?
Yeah.
You don't think that's a need?
So, you just send gifts or?
It's not even about gifts. You're asking about the affair of their kids.
Okay, so basically, you're that person that will chat them up and like, hey, what's up?
Check up on them. They have parents. You check up on their parents. You know what each person needs. You know what is important to what is important to you may not be what is important to your husband, but I find out what is important to you and I cater for that need. It's natural for you, people in their right senses, to reciprocate. So, meeting people's needs, understand people's desire, understand people's need, understand their love language. It's not only for
Couples,
for
married
couples.
couples.
No, we all have a need. And the people that speak to our needs are the ones that are important to us.
Interesting stuff. So, I mean, when you come back, I mean, as we close, I mean, we're running away now, but I mean, I've learned so much from you. What kind of sectors are you eyeing for when you return back?
I think I'm going to keep that in a wrap right now.
He's planning stuff.
I'm going to keep that in a wrap because, like where I came from, wanted to show me bata and for budget.
Deep.
So when the thing is not cooked yet, you don't throw it out there.
Fair enough. I asked because you diaspora people, sometimes you there's an angle perspective and a way you see things here that sometimes we that are in here are blind to it. So, like, even if it's not what you would get into, what kind of sectors would you say people should wake up to that from like out there where you are, people are itching to come participate in those spaces?
When you lived all your life in Nigeria and you go to a Western country, one of the things you learned, or one of the first things that jump at you is excellence. You see the way things are done. Not that we're not excellent in Nigeria, we are.
No. Now, no, you're not going to now be here and let's not lie to ourselves. We can do better.
Yeah, but when you, I believe it's system. Because you see Nigerians everywhere in the world doing excellently well. So
is it not? So maybe
it's innate. We are excellent. So you see our thing. Why we don't do that here is we don't insist on excellence.
Who? The government people?
The people. Because it has become the status quo. When you insist on excellence, people will feel like this one, you're home too much. So you don't. Sometimes you just give up.
So is that a business area or what?
You look, whatever you want to do, you put excellence into it. One of the things I love is fashion, but I'm not going into fashion, don't worry. That's not what I'm coming back to Nigeria to do, but I believe things could be done excellently
I hear you, and that's so strong what you just said. I mean, so basically, from what you just said now, you're making me see excellence like a product, honestly.
It is a product.
Yeah.
It is a product.
Yeah. So Nigerians want their houses clean, but who can do it excellently? They want you to supply food, but who can do it the way, Thank you. This has been rich.
Thank you.
And even though I don't have any plans to relocate, I've learned a lot from you still. And that's how life is. And that's why, I think that's why this podcast exists, because there's something to learn from everyone. We sat here, coming to have this conversation was really about, what to do when you're relocated. But that thing you said, people are my capital. Like, it's ringing in my head. Like, people are my capital. Thank you. Guys, have you hit the subscribe button? No. Right now, you're looking at me, I'm looking at you. Take that finger down and thump it. Yes, just against the Seyi Banigbe name. There's a red button there. Yes. Subscribe, follow. We have a lot more exciting topics, success discussions, and I'm sure you enjoyed this one. I will see. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Delightful. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Thank you for watching the podcast. I'm so happy to have you on here. I'd love you to join our family. So hit the subscribe button. Yes, that's how to join the family, because we have so much more in store for you on this channel. So subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.